Now, I would humbly request His Excellency Mr. Jawed Ashraf, Ambassador of India to France, to deliver his speech.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Konkar Talha, Madam Talha, Excellencies from our friendly countries, distinguished delegation from Bangladesh, a very warm welcome to you here in Paris, to my colleagues from our embassy, to my colleagues from the Bangladeshi embassy, to all the friends of India and Bangladesh who are here today with us this evening. First of all, I'd like to thank UNESCO for letting us use these facilities in these difficult times and the constraints of COVID. But the fact that we are here today speaks of the resilience of Bangladesh and of India and the strength of our friendship, that we are always prepared to deal with every kind of adversity that we face and take our relationship forward and our two great nations ahead. We're all here to celebrate the Maitri Diwas, the first of between India and Bangladesh. And I'd like to thank Ambassador Talha for his leadership in organizing this. It's the best way to welcome him here in Paris, where he's just been for a month. Now, we've heard why we celebrate, or why Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and Her Excellency Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who was here not so long ago, decided in this March to celebrate December 6th as the first Maitri Diwas. And the reason is that it was on this day that India formally recognized Bangladesh. It was not yet the end of the war. It was still on. The dawn of freedom was still some time away. But the first light of hope was already there after the darkest periods in the history of Bangladesh and the Bangladesh people. We all remember the horrors of 25th March, the darkest nights of our times. We remember the struggles and the sacrifices and the unimmeasurable toll that it took on the civilian population that led them, 10 million of them, to seek refuge in a friendly country. But we also remember the epic struggle, the courage and the bravery of the Mukti Jodha of Bangladesh, who rallied together to wage an unprecedented freedom struggle against one of the mightiest armies and one of its most brutal. We were honored to join that struggle, first as a people of India that were stirred by that epic freedom struggle that the people of Bangladesh in our neighborhood were waging, but also by the brave soldiers of Indian Army who fought side by side with the brave Mukti Jodhas as one. 1,650 of them made the supreme sacrifice, and to this day, Bangladesh recognizes their sacrifice in a way that truly reflects the greatness of a nation. But the light of this story, the great force behind this great struggle, was, of course, the Jatirpita, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He was one of the tallest leaders of our times, one of the greatest figures of the 20th century, the great symbol of the moral values that symbolize our region and our people. We have all heard about him, read about him. He was an unrelenting champion of justice, equality, of dignity of people. He was the sage of peace. He was that arrow of peaceful struggle against coercion and brutality, and he was the great shield of his people. He was the voice of the aspiration of the people of Bangladesh, and he was the deliverer of their destiny. And the nation of Bangladesh was born in difficult circumstances. Not too many people had given hope that this country would survive, would prosper. But 50 years later, 100 years after the birth, when we are celebrating the birth of the father of the nation, 50 years after we are celebrating the independence of Bangladesh, 50 years of India-Bangladesh friendship, we can say with great joy as neighbors and friends that Bangladesh has become a symbol of progress, prosperity, inclusion, moderation, not just in our region, but across the world. It is an inspiration for our region and for our world. A nation of 165 million people today is the second largest economy in South Asia. It has a per capita GDP that exceeds that of India. It has social indicators that are better than most in our region, and certainly in some cases better than ours. It has become the second largest exporter of garments, and not just anything, some of the most sophisticated garments. I am personally deeply admire their porcelain also. It's some of the finest that you will ever see anywhere. And those of you who haven't, please get your hands on them. It has shown what women's empowerment is all about, gender equality is all about, how a nation can develop through empowerment of its people and through improvement of its social indicators. And just as Bangladesh hit the milestone of 50, it also graduated from the ranks of the least developed country to a developing nation with a great future ahead. And we have to not just admire the great talent and the dynamism of the people, but also the extraordinary leadership of Begum Sheikh Hasina. And just as our relationship between India and Bangladesh is forged in the blood, the sacrifice, and the struggle of the freedom struggle, it is also anchored in a shared heritage of language, of culture, of traditions, of the joy of Eid and the fervor of Durga Puja. It is in Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, who has composed the national anthem of both our countries, the inspiring, soul-stirring poetry of Qazi Nasrul Islam. But it is also in the leadership, in the relationship that we have forged today, of great trust and cooperation. We are two nations. We have a land boundary of 4,000 square kilometers where people live cheek by jowl, but we have settled our land boundary in 2015 when the Parliament of India passed the constitutional amendment bill by a unanimous vote. In 2014, we settled our maritime boundary, and at a time when people are calling into question the provisions of international law, our two countries showed how to respect international law and the judgment of an arbitration. Today, we have a vibrant trade relationship. We are Bangladesh's second largest trading partner, and Bangladesh in South Asia is our largest trading partner. We have an excellent development partnership, about $10 billion of projects under execution, and it is to the credit of the talent and quality of leadership and the civil service in Bangladesh that the projects have excellent execution rate. We are building great connectivity on rail, on land, on road, on coastal shipping, on transmission lines, and on gas pipelines. Today, Bangladesh is becoming a lifeline for northeastern states of India, which have a very challenged connectivity with India. But we are dreaming bigger because we wish to connect our region, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and India together, and we have set our eyes higher towards Southeast Asia, when India and Bangladesh could become the bridge between South and Southeast Asia. Today, the largest number of tourists that visit India come from Bangladesh. We have excellent cooperation in education, in healthcare, and COVID was just one example. But we are today cooperating in frontier areas of science, of civil nuclear energy, of space. And as you know, Bangladesh has become a space power with its own satellite. And in digital technology. So this is a relationship that is anchored in a timeless heritage, but it has set its eyes to the future. And today, we are working together in international forum. And when we speak about regional and international fora, we have to mention BIMSTEC, and it was Bangladesh which took the leadership in SAARC, and it is now going to chair the Indian Ocean Regional Association, and we wish it luck. It's a great opportunity to bring our region together. And we must thank Bangladesh, and we speak in admiration for the generosity it has shown over the last several years in hosting a large population of Rakhine refugees, of Rohingya refugees from Rakhine. So its leadership, its moral leadership in the international forum and the international relations is already evident. And it is with this sort of solid, broad-based relationship that we are forging our partnership for the future. It is a relationship that we dream of for our neighbors, or between neighbors, as a model relationship, when we will live in complete harmony and mutual trust, when our connectivity will be seamless, when the rivers that we share nurture people on both sides of the boundary fairly and equally, when we can move across our boundaries and borders easily and freely, when we can become a source of integration in our region in South Asia and a bridge to the world beyond, when we become one voice in international forums, and when our cooperation leads us both to become more secure and more prosperous, and to help build a more sustainable, more secure future for our region and for our world. And this is a partnership that we deeply believe in, and what Bangladesh deeply believes in. We're honored to be friends of a great country. Thank you.